Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are joining us from today. Just to make sure that everybody can see and hear us, if you could find the chat and let us know where you are joining us from today. I like to start off these events by asking the community to sort of share where they are because maybe you'll find somebody in your area or in your vicinity who also uses our tools, and that way you'll be able to connect. Hey, everybody again. Welcome. We are going to have an awesome and an unusual workshop, I would say, first ranking. I can see a Helma is saying that she's from the Netherlands, and that means that she can see and hear us. So good. So once again, I want to say welcome everybody to today's workshop. We're going to be talking about bridging social and search, how Planable adds punch to your SEO ranking toolkit. Just to give a bit more word about what is happening. So recently, SEO Ranking acquired Planable, and we are joining forces to give you even more capabilities in this digital marketing world that we operate in. And yeah, I'm seeing that a lot of people are already in. So let me just proceed to the next slide and say that I'm the host of today's event. My name is Andrew, and I'm part of the marketing team over at SEO Ranking. But you're not here for me. We're going to be talking to Noah, the customer success lead at Planable. Welcome, Noah. And before we jump in, I just want to say a couple of words about what Planable is. So it's a social media collaboration hub where teams and clients plan, preview, approve, schedule, and analyze content across all major networks together in one place. You get realistic post mockups, side-by-side feedback, structured approvals, and a clean calendar feed view that keeps everyone aligned from first draft to publish. Obviously, we're going to go a lot more deeper than I just did. That was just a short preview. So I'm looking at the chat again. No problem here. Looking good. So let me just give you the expectations for today's event. So we're going to have a session for like an hour long. We're going to have a 40-minute presentation, give or take, about Planable, everything that you guys need to know about how social is now integrating with search in this collaboration that we have. And then we're going to have a Q&A where you're welcome to throw questions. But if you have questions while the presentation is going on, you're welcome to throw them into the chat. If it's going to be very relevant, I'm going to just throw it to Noah. If not, we're going to have the dedicated Q&A. And I'm going to ask you to also stick around because we have like a special offer for SEO Ranking users and those who are on trial of SEO Ranking, just to sort of help you connect all your activities in digital marketing. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Noah. I'll be keeping my eye on the chat, and I'm really excited to see what Planable can do for all of us. So Noah, I'll be here and looking forward to the presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's exciting to see people from all around the world. I see Europe, Canada, US, and even Australia. I think, wow, that it should be pretty late for Australia, but really appreciate you joining us. So yeah, I'm Noah. I'm the lead customer success at Planable. I've been with the company for almost 5 years. And so I talk with customers day in and day out. So I'm excited to show you about what Planable can do if you're managing social media. We like to say it's the social media tool for modern teams. You'll see that we focus a lot on collaboration and approval. And that's how Planable really got started, is to make it easy for either agencies to work with clients, but even just teams to collaborate. We have over 7,000 agencies and brands across the world that are using Planable right now. And let's get into a bit of what Planable can do. And Andrew did a great job of really highlighting the most important parts, but we're going to get a bit more into detail. So there's a creating part, right? So you have to create your content. One of the focuses there is that you're getting great real-time previews, and we're going to see exactly what it looks like. But you can also edit your assets like images and videos within Planable. Of course, there's AI to help you create your content, and then ways to organize those posts. Then there's the planning aspect. So we have several views in which you can see your content depending on what works best for you. I can tell you most of our users spend the majority of their time in a calendar view because it's very visual and it allows you to see and plan ahead. But you can also create your own custom views based on filters and what's most relevant to you. Then, of course, there's the collaboration part. So, as I mentioned, whether that is internally with your own team or if you're working with clients, there are several ways for you to review and give and receive feedback, to leave almost no room for interpretation and misunderstandings, and having it just be very, very clear. And all of that leads to the approval. So once you want to make sure that the post is ready to go live, there's an approval button. There's several ways you can go about approval, which we're going to touch upon. But yeah, it's a one-click approval, very easy to do that. We also have a mobile app. You can do that from the go. So there's a very clear way to know the post is good to go. Once it's good to go, it's scheduled. It can go live. You can schedule it in advance. You can publish it right away across 9 social media platforms right now. So you can really have all of your content in the same place. And once you're done with all of that, so you've created, you've planned, you've gotten your feedback, you scheduled, the post went out. There's the next two stages, if you will. There's the engagement part. So in one place, you can see the comments that are coming to your post so that you can reply to them all in the same space. So that's the main idea of just bringing all of the process into one single tool. You can even have, AI help you organize and sort the types of comments that you're receiving. It's a positive vibe, it's a question, and whatever. And then obviously analyzing your content. So now that you've done all of it, the post went live, it's time to look at how it's performing, making sure that it helps to inform your strategy moving forward, reporting to clients, and yeah, whatever else you would need from the analytics side of things. So these are the, let's say, the core aspects of what Planable can do, and we'll go into a bit more detail on each of them during our walkthrough. But as we get started, I thought it would be a good place to kind of end this presentation with just kind of clarifying a bit what are the elements, because I know you're coming from, you're using SEO ranking right now, and I know that there are projects there, right? We have a bit of a different terminology, so I thought it would be helpful to clarify that. So we have workspaces, which you'll see are essentially a project, if you will. If you are your own brand, then you would have your own workspace. If you're an agency working with clients, each client would have its own workspace. Then you have all of the users. So those are all the people involved. You can invite as many users as you need from your team, from the client side. And then the pages are the actual channels and social media accounts that you can connect in Planable, the ones that you're going to be publishing on. So yeah, wanted to kind of give this very, let's say, high level overview before we go into the actual demo. This is the video that we have. If we're going to share the presentation, you'll see it there. If not, I'm sure we'll be able to share the link. But I'll just go right now through a live presentation. Let me just get my tab here. All right. I'm hoping you can see my screen. I'm pretty sure you can. All right, so let's go into the walkthrough. Now, if you're gonna move forward and want to give Planable a try, you're gonna go through setting things up, and then this is gonna be your dashboard. Going back to what I was mentioning regarding workspaces, so this is how I try to represent that. So each of these rectangles or folders is essentially a workspace and a client. If you're an agency, if you're a brand, then you would potentially only have one workspace. When it comes to users, you're going to be able to choose which workspaces they have access to. So if you're an agency, you can invite your entire team to have access across all the workspaces, so they'll have a similar view to mine. But as a client, you'll invite them to their own workspace and they will only see that one. I'm going to be spending time in a demo account, so this will allow me to really go through all of the settings and show you all of what Planable can do. So on the left-hand side, you're going to see we have all of the channels. As I mentioned, we support 9 social media platforms. So everything from Facebook, Instagram, Threads to YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Google Business Profiles. LinkedIn and X. So you can see them all right here. And I do want to highlight that we actually do have a space we call universal content. So I like to describe this as a Google Doc, if you will. It could take any shape or form you want it to. A lot of the times, people use this space to put in their newsletter content or blogs or website content, whatever that is. It's essentially a space where you can, just like a Google Doc, put in the copy, and just get the same feedback and approval next to all of your social media content, so that you have a full marketing calendar. And then you will have to, make sure you copy the content and publish it through your existing, integrations. However, that's definitely something that we'll be exploring. But as for social media, yeah, there is a full integration. You'll be publishing directly through Planable to all of these platforms. So now that we have our channels covered, let's go on and talk a bit about users, the other component. So you'll be able to invite users, as I mentioned, within each workspace. And a couple of things that I think are worth mentioning. When you're inviting people, you can choose their membership. So we have it set up as team or client. These are some, general names for it, but the way that I like to describe it is essentially team would be anybody that's creating your content, and then client would be anybody that's in charge of reviewing and approving it. Where this becomes useful is, and I'm going to show this in a second, you're going to be able to choose the visibility of content. So you'll be able to choose when posts become visible to the client, and that will definitely help with the process of reviewing and making sure the content gets approved. And then in terms of permissions, there's a whole lot to play with. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but I will say that it's very easy for you to customize this for each individual user. And again, the membership isn't related to the permissions. A client can have any permissions you want to offer to them, and you'll see it's very easy to adjust those. But yeah, you can invite your users, you can invite everybody by email, or just send a link to multiple people, and they'll have access to the entire workspace and all of the content that is there. And then the last part, let's say, of settings before we go into really a workflow is the approval part, which I mentioned. So you'll see there are 4 settings you can choose from. So all the way from none, if approval is not really relevant to you, if you're just focused more on scheduling and posts just can go out directly, you can choose not to have an approval process at all. And then there's optional, required, and multi-level. The main difference, right, between, let's say, these 2 on the left and the other 2 on the right is whether or not posts need approval in order to be scheduled. So even with optional, that means that, the button is there, you can approve a post, but it can still be scheduled regardless. If we move on to the right already, now this means that a post cannot be scheduled or published unless it's been approved by somebody. Doesn't matter what permissions you have, it needs to be approved first. And then the multi-level essentially just takes this to the next level, where you would have multiple people needing to approve your content. So you could say, we approve it first as a team, and then we have the client approve it. And only after both of us have approved it can the post be scheduled. I'm going to set it up as required for now. But one very important feature is scheduling posts automatically on approval. Because what that does is that as soon as it's approved, if your post has a date and time, it'll be automatically scheduled. You don't have to worry about that. You'll see that, it'll go live at the date you set it for. So really kind of taking that off of your plate and streamlining the entire process. All right, so those are the main settings. You have your pages, you have your users, you have your approval. So let's talk a bit about how to navigate Planable. I'll start with the views, and then we'll go into the actual process of creating content, reviewing it, approving it, and all the way to publishing, and then, what happens afterwards. So as we mentioned, there's several views in which you can see your content. So we have the feed view, which allows you to see one page at a time. Now you'll see here already you have a very good preview of how your post is going to look like once published. It is per platform, so it is adjusted for each platform's format. And you can see you can scroll from one post to the other. Each post has its own feedback section, own approval button, and it's honestly the perfect view for somebody looking to review, because you can just go from one post to the other without ever leaving this window. Then we have the calendar, and if I can say so myself, really the star, just based on what a lot of our users say. So this allows you to select all of your content, all of your pages. So you can see, you can focus on one page or select multiple ones. It's totally up to you, but it's definitely a place where you can visualize your entire marketing calendar. And again, if we go back to what I was talking about, like having newsletters or blogs, so you can see it all in the same context as to like, okay, when is social media going out, when are blogs going out, and all of that. You can, go between a weekly or a monthly view, depending on, how far ahead you like to plan. And then, of course, you're also able to create content directly on a specific date or even date and time. So if you like to, if you start your planning from a calendar point, you can do that easily from here. We also have a grid view, which up until recently, I was always talking about how it's really useful for Instagram, but realize that TikTok also has a grid. So whether that's Instagram or TikTok, you get a good preview of what your grid is gonna look like, so that yourself, your team, your client can all be aligned on what the layout will look like, and just make any adjustments. And you can even play around with the layout. So it does allow you to move posts around just from a layout perspective, so that you can figure out, what's the best approach, so that everybody is happy and can make sure that you have the perfect read. And then we have the list view as well. So similarly to the calendar, you can also select multiple pages here, as many as you want. And then essentially the list view does bulk actions. You can select as many posts as you need to do bulk actions. Basically everything you'll be able to do for one post, you can do here for multiple ones. You can request approval, you can archive posts, you can hide or unhide content. I was talking about the visibility of posts earlier. So yeah, whatever you would want to do for one post, you can go ahead and do it here in bulk. So these are the four main views that we have. And then there's the option of custom views, which I'll get to in a second. But before I get to that, that really ties in with the workflow. So let's talk about what the workflow would look like in Planable. So when you want to create a post, I mentioned in the calendar specifically, you can do that on a particular day. But if not, you'll always notice the compose button is in the top right corner. Wherever you are in the feed, in the grid, it'll be there. Now, when creating content, you'll see at the very top all of the platforms that you have selected. So if you're in the calendar and have all of them selected, they will be right here at the top. So let me adjust this a bit. So yeah, let's say I want to do a post across Facebook, X, and LinkedIn. As soon as I open the composer, we'll see that all of these are selected, and then that we have a sync option. So that indicates that my content will be automatically duplicated and I don't have to copy paste. So to show you what this would look like, if I type in anything here, you can see it's copied over across all three of my platforms. Immediately, I don't have to do anything else. Same goes for any assets I add. So if I were to add an image, again, it copied over across my three platforms. It will also auto crop it to fit the requirements of each platform. Now, you might be thinking, just based on what questions I usually get, that's great, but what if I want to tweak each post slightly because, I might want to put a different hashtag, or let's say I also have Instagram, I cannot add a link. So there's different use cases. And to that, I say, of course, there's a solution. After you're done with creating your main content, you can turn the sync off, which will allow you to adjust the content as needed. So let's give a silly example and say I want to put hashtag Facebook on Facebook. First, we'll notice that does not carry over, and I can continue making any changes I need, and essentially tweaking and adjusting each post to the platform I'm publishing it to. But again, the main content, the main visual is the same across the 3 pages. I just am able to make small adjustments. That being said, there's AI to help with captions that I wanted to highlight. And when it comes to assets, you're able to edit your images directly in Planable. So if you want to do small tweaks like cropping, fine tuning, and so on, that is all available right here. And then additionally, we do have a Canva integration that helps as well, which allows you to add Planable as an app in Canva so that you can more seamlessly send files between the two apps and not have to download and upload each and every time. And you'll see those those files are just going to show up in your media library. So you'll be able to send them directly from Canva to your media library. All right. So this is the creating process, fairly straightforward. There's definitely, more details we could get into. So if there's going to be any questions about different formats or different capabilities when it comes to creating content, make sure to put them in the chat, and we'll go over them in the Q&A. But yeah, things like adding a first comment, adding a location, all of that is supported. Now, once you're done with your post, so you can save it as a draft, so without even a date and time, or of course, you can choose a date and time. There's the option of introducing some time slots. So if you have some preferred times that you're often using, you can set them up and they will show up right here so that it makes it a bit easier. And then there's the visibility of content that I brought up in the very beginning when I was talking about users. So myself as a team member, I'm going to be able to see all of the content, and I can decide whether this post is visible to everybody. So that would include quote unquote clients or approvers, or if I just want to keep it visible to team members at this stage. So I'll do that. I'll keep it visible to team members. And then as you can see, because I have required approval, you'll notice I'm unable to schedule it. I can only save it, right? So I cannot schedule it because it needs to be approved first. Again, if you were to switch to optional approval, you would be able to schedule it right away. We saved our post. Let's go and find it. There it is on September 2nd. You can see here, you can go through the platforms, through the pages, so you can see like how each post looks on each version. I removed the image from Facebook, for example, so we can see that difference. Now, what I want to draw your attention to is that you'll see the striped bar. So this is what indicates to me that the client will not be able to see this post. So it's up to me to decide when this is the final version and I can make it visible to clients. Because again, as if you're doing social media or any type of content, I'm sure there's a lot of versions that it goes through before it's really ready for a final approval. So to help with that, you can make it only visible to team members. And from the other side, I think it's important to mention, like on a client side or on an approver side, my experience is that it also simplifies things for them because they know that all the posts that they are able to see, they have the reassurance that they can start leaving feedback and approval, right? It's not in their back of their mind, like, is it okay? Is this the final version? Can I start leaving feedback? It's very clear that if they're seeing a post, they can go ahead and start giving feedback. So that being said, let's talk a bit about feedback. You'll see I mentioned earlier, each post has its own feedback section right here on the right. And then I want to highlight that with feedback as well, there is this internal versus client-facing comments. So with any post, even if it's a visible post, you'll see here you have an option to leave internal notes. Again, this can be very useful. Those internal notes are only visible to team members and they stay that way regardless of the visibility of posts, right? So even if a post is visible, internal notes will stay hidden. And then if you don't enable this, then these comments will be visible to everybody, including a client. I guess let's take this post. Let's say I'm done. This is my final version. I make it visible to the client so that I make sure that they'll be able to see this post. And now in terms of feedback, so there's a general space. So this is where you can leave feedback just about the post altogether. You can tag any team members or client, as I mentioned, as long as this is not internal. You can even attach files. So if you want to leave a suggestion about like a different asset, and yeah, you can just type in anything that you would want. And then once the comment is left, it could be resolved, it could be replied to, you can even react to it. So, it's really, there's a lot of ways for you to ensure things are threaded, things are organized, and that, yeah, it's easy to manage. Now, to take it a step further, you can actually give more precise and specific feedback when it comes to the copy. So you can actually highlight any part of the text yourself, again, yourself, your client, anybody, and you can leave an annotation. So this means, you're highlighting a section of the text and commenting what it is you want to change about it. So it's very clear now. You're not referring to the entire post, it's just that section. I realize this is a very small post, but just for the sake of this example. And then, my favorite part is that you can also actually leave suggestions. So just like, let's say, track changes in Google Docs, you'll see you can suggest edits. So everybody, the creator of the post or anybody else will see exactly like what was changed. And then the creator of the post will be able to, if they agree with this, they can simply accept it and the change will be implemented right away. So that makes it really, really easy. So these are the ways that you can leave feedback. I'll actually show you in a second how it looks like on a blog or a newsletter, because I think with long form content, it's even more useful. But just so we kind of wrap up the workflow process, the collaboration process, let's talk a bit about the approval part. This is really the easiest step in my opinion. So you can request approval from whoever has those approval permissions. Multiple people can have approval permissions and you can choose who should be approving each post, and they will be notified about that. Once they're notified about that, they can come in. If the post looks good, if no changes are required, they can simply approve the post, and you can see my post was automatically scheduled. Like what I was mentioning earlier about auto scheduling, as soon as it's approved, it's scheduled, it will go live, and you don't have to worry about that any longer. But you can also at any point, unschedule it, publish now, change the date and time, so you'll be able to do those things. Once it's approved, you can unschedule, schedule as many times as you need. But yeah, so that would be, let's say, the workflow: creating content, giving feedback, approving it, and then scheduling it and making sure it goes live. Now, I promised I wanted to show you a bit about the universal content side of things. So let me just maybe select blog, for example. So yeah, the idea with universal content is that it gives you more room to format and create long form content. So while with social media, right, you'll see that each post is going to take the shape and form of that specific platform. With universal content, as I mentioned, it's kind of just like a blank Google Doc. So you put in your title, and then you'll see you have a lot of room to format, put different headings, different lists, and then also apply some, rich formatting to your existing, to the caption, to the main content. So that's basically, how it looks. So you can again bring in your blogs, your newsletters, whatever it is, and really format them to make it look like how it's going to be. And then, as I mentioned, annotations or suggestions are definitely, even more powerful in this context where you have long form content. All right. Okay, being mindful of the time, and I think we're doing good. I just want to go through the rest of of, let's say, the verticals that we have. So we have the space for campaigns. This is essentially a way for you to organize your content around a specific opportunity or occasion that happens in a specific frame of time, if you will. So think of it like we have an examples here, like a launch is happening, or an event is coming up, or even a promotion, a sale, whatever it is that is going to take place from a specific amount of time for a couple of weeks, whatever that is. So you can create a campaign, set that up, set that period up, and then you'll see here. First of all, you have the space to put in all the details of your campaign, so that it's just very focused and everybody has an understanding about what this campaign is going to be, what we need to create. You can even actually add like a checklist if you want to make sure that all the assets are done and all of that. The first thing this does is that as soon as you created this campaign, if we go back to our calendar, you'll notice that it's marked on your calendar, so you know when this takes place, like how many weeks. And so it could honestly be a kind of reminder that your yeah, this is when this is happening. You know when you have to create content for it, prepare for it, and so on. When we go back here, the next thing we have is the calendar. So this is now a dedicated calendar view. It's a way for you to zoom in on the content for this campaign. So every time you want to create a post, it'll be attached to your campaign automatically. And if you want to review and just make sure, like, okay, how many posts have we created? What content do we have just for this campaign? This will offer that dedicated view. Additionally, it'll also create like a media folder for all the assets that are attached. So if we go back to our media library, which I realized I didn't really explain, but essentially all of your assets that you're uploading are going to be stored in this media library, and it'll create folders based on each campaign. And then the very last thing, and a nice way to transition, is that you also get analytics at a campaign level. So all the posts that are part of your campaign, you'll see them, centralized here and kind of seeing how it all performed, so that you can analyze and you can draw any conclusions about how a certain campaign has performed. And yeah, this is all for organic content that you're scheduling and publishing, and it's just a way for you to organize it in one space. Before I dive into analytics, I do want to talk very quickly just about organizing. I'll mention you can create custom views based on different filters, and it can be very helpful. So let's say you're working with somebody that needs to approve posts, you can filter, apply, something like not approved, and then save that as a custom view. So I think I actually have one here, right? It says to be approved, right? Same thing. You have this view and you can share this with people in your workspace. So literally just copying the link in your browser, or you can also make this like a public link. So you can even share it with people that are not in Planable. If people don't want to log in, you can still share this view with them and they'll be able to leave feedback on your posts. So yeah, based on as whatever filters make sense, you can combine these in different ways based on the approval, based on post status, post type, and so on. And you can also organize your content with labels, which are perfect for like recurring topics, content pillars. You can add these to your post and then be able to filter by those labels, for example. So yeah, I think that was the thing that I wanted to make sure I talk about when it comes to organizing. Moving forward, there's the analytics part. So we talked about, yeah, you're publishing your content, you're curating it, making sure it's great, and then you come in to see how it's performing. First things first, of course, you'll choose, the period of time you're looking at, the range you're looking at, and then you'll notice you have metrics for your page. So, based on each platform, you'll see followers, um, how many posts, impressions, views, engagement, and all of that. And if you click on each metric, you'll be able to see the evolution on the time period you have selected. Then as we scroll, you're going to have your top performing content. So your top 3 posts, either based on impressions or engagement. And then I'm sorry, I know this is dummy data, so it doesn't really change. But then you'll see, all of your content, all of your posts. Again, I only have 3 posts here, but imagine you have a whole month worth of content. You will see it all right here. And then you also have audience insights. Let's see if Instagram loads up a bit more. Sorry, just because it's dummy data and it's not actually linked, looks like it's not coming through. But essentially, you can see things like country, cities, gender, age. On LinkedIn, it's more, oh, there we go. It did come through in the end. On LinkedIn, it's more professional, seniority, job function. But yeah, you get an idea of what your audience is, and you can follow this here. And you can create reports, right? You can create a report, and then download that as a PDF, or even share that report again with anybody outside of Planable. You'll be able to create a shareable link. So this is the analytics side of things. And then we have the engagement part. So as I mentioned, currently you can see all of the comments that are left on your published content. And you can reply to them directly from Planable. AI can help you reply to make it quicker. And as I mentioned previously, there's the option of analyzing the sentiment of your comments to help you kind of group them and just maybe know what to prioritize. So, if there's some negative sentiment or just some questions and you just want to make sure you start with those, you have that option. And you have your kind of a dedicated inbox, let's say, where you can see all of the new comments that are coming in. You can reply, you can mark them as done, or even save them for later. And in terms of who can reply to comments, you're able to manage that from the permissions, right? Because you just want to make sure that, I don't know, that it's clear who's in charge of that, so that you don't have multiple people replying to the same comment. So that's something you can curate from, yeah, from the permission settings. So yeah, I would say that's Planable in a nutshell. I think the one thing I haven't really touched upon is there's notifications, right? Yourself or clients can receive email notifications. There's in-app notifications as well. If anybody uses Slack, you can connect it there. And we also do have a mobile app. So if you're on the go, or just prefer to do things, from your phone, there is a mobile app, and it allows you to do most of everything that you can. Obviously, the browser version, the desktop version is definitely more useful, just because when you're creating content, you want to have a big screen to see it all. But the mobile app is also very useful for doing things on the go. I don't know. I'll stop my screen just so I can go back here. I don't know if I was a bit too quick. Wow, I see there's quite some questions. So maybe, yeah.
No, you were great with the timing. Almost exactly 40 minutes like we promised, so I'm happy that my promise paid off. But yeah, I just wanted to say that it was a fantastic, although it was quick, but I think it was very detailed. Obviously, like overviews are like that. You have to sort of go into the details if you want to learn more. But yeah, but I want to thank you, Noah, for doing this. I just love the look of Planable. It looks very intuitive. Everything social covered in one place, and plus I love the workplace management options, how you can move everything around depending on what you want to focus on. um, yeah, and plus the AI assistant, everybody knows how important they are these days, just to sort of speed up everything that we're doing. So yeah, if you've ever had chased feedback across 5 tabs and 3 time zones, you probably felt that demo right in your soul. And before we get to your questions, there's actually already a question that sort of leads me into this, is a segue to the next slide that I wanted to show. So the question is, do you provide any discount on this tool if we're already paying for this? And here we go. So we are offering 2 deals depending on what status you have with SEO ranking. If you're paying for SEO ranking, you can get 30% off Planable for your first 12 months. Your email is already sort of synced, so that process will be a lot easier. And if you're on trial, you can get both SEO ranking and Planable at a 15% discount for 12 months, for 1 year. And yeah, but you just have to reach out to us to sort of book that, to make that happen. We will send out the link in the demo, sorry, in the follow-up email. And I also wanted to just throw the demo to Planable right into the chat right now, so that you have more time to sort of react to it before you have the opportunity to sort of book a demo via the follow-up email. All right, so hopefully that addresses at least one of the questions that we have. Yeah, so we're bundling sort of, but the first stage is just basically telling you guys that we are like under one roof basically, and you can have better offers if you're already using SEO ranking, or if you're already using Planable, vice versa works as well. All right, now let's dig into your questions. Other ones. I already have started a couple of questions. Let's start off with the first one from Maria Carla. You mentioned that we can add as many users as we want. Do we have any limitations for free seats? I mean, 20 seats for free, and you should pay if you want more.
Perfect. Great question. And excited to see a whole lot of questions. So excited to go through them. So the way that our plans work are with unlimited users, as many users, as many seats as you want. You've got them. And again, there is also the option of sharing, as I mentioned, content links to your calendar view. So if just people don't want to use a login, they don't need to. But again, all the seats are included. And one thing I didn't mention, but I think a good place here, our trial, the way that we have it is if you sign up, you're going to be on our free trial, which allows you to create the first 50 posts. So a bit different than, other trials, or like how most of them are time limited. We don't put a time limit to it. You can take your time. So you can, I would encourage everybody, if anybody who's interested, you can register today, come back to it when you have time. It'll still be there. And yeah, once you start creating posts and hit 50, that's when you'll be then taken to upgrade. But in terms of users, they're all included. The pricing is based on workspaces. So if you remember, as I showed in the beginning, each client, for example, has its own workspace. You pay for the total number of workspace. If you're a brand just doing it for your brand, for your pages, then you would only need one workspace, so you're paying for that. Yeah, if that's going to be more, more questions around that, we can also for sure share like a link to our pricing page in the follow-up. But if there are going to be any questions, I'm here, and we can, people that are interested, we can get more into that.
Awesome, Noah. We have another question. How does Planable handle localization at scale? For example, can we create one master post with market-specific variants, copy links, UTMs, time zones, and then push them to multiple pages, locations?
Yeah, for sure that is possible. We can get into more details as to what's needed. I'll start by covering some things. So in a workspace, you set up the time zone that you're publishing to. So if you would want to have different time zones, ideally you would do different workspaces. But there is an option for you to copy content from one workspace to the other. So that makes it a bit easier. You don't have to start from scratch. So yeah. There's a lot of use cases, again, multi-locations. We have several clients that are using Planable that way. So we can definitely get into more details. Lou, if you're interested, I encourage you to set up a demo. But yeah, kind of long story short, it is possible. There's just some definitely details to be mindful of, but you can have the same post and adjust it, with a specific link, but still have it go out on multiple pages at a time without having to create, the same post 10 times.
Awesome, awesome. The next question is coming from Harold. Can we use multiple accounts for one client? For example, we have 3 showcase pages under Boulder SEO marketing and 10 GBPs. Can we add multiple accounts under a social media platform?
Yeah, for sure. So actually a great question. I didn't mention there's no limit in terms of having multiple Facebook pages or GBP pages in one workspace. You can totally have that. There is a limit of how many pages in total you can have per workspace based on the plan you choose. But long story short, if you want to have 10 Google Business Profiles pages in one place, you can definitely do that.
Awesome, awesome. The next question is about Pinterest. Is that an option? Is there an option to integrate Pinterest in Planable?
Yes, yes, there is. You can definitely integrate it. Only business accounts, if I'm not mistaken. But if you have a business profile, yeah, it can be integrated and published too.
I know that we didn't discuss this, but maybe if you have any like plans that you know about with regard to the development of Planable further, I think this is a good opportunity to sort of, well, not hook people, but sort of give them an opportunity because they haven't even purchased Planable yet, and it's just good to give them a roadmap of what's to come, so then they know what they're signing up for.
For sure. Currently, and by currently, I mean like in the next couple of weeks, the main focuses have been developing the analytics and engagement features. Those are a bit newer to us. So with analytics, we're gonna have the option to have analytics across like all of the channels. So like for an entire brand, so that it's easier for you to see like how your entire brand or entire client is performing. And then on the engagement side as well, making sure that as much of the content, so even ads that you're doing maybe on Facebook or Instagram, for example, any comments that are done on that are left on ads are also brought into Planable, so that you can reply to everything in one place, as well as bringing more platforms to the engagement side of things. So those are the things to look out for in the very near future. And yeah, I think those are the ones to look out for.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that information with us. The next question is that we have is about when making a post for the client's approval, can they see that we are using Planable?
Yeah, currently that is they will see that there is Planable. White label isn't a feature we currently have. I know it's in the talks and sometimes can be offered with bigger enterprise plans. So they will see that Planable is used for now.
Awesome, awesome. Another question we have from Emma. What does reporting look like in Planable? And I just want to say that a couple of these questions were just thrown like a minute before you started talking about the relevant sections, but it's still a good opportunity to talk more expandedly about these questions. So again, what does reporting look like in Planable? Can we track post-level KPIs, clicks, engagement, compare brands, campaigns, and export clean reports for clients?
Yeah, so I think I touched upon that, but for sure you can track post level KPIs as well as page levels. Um, in terms of comparing brands, so currently you can, you'll be able to compare, let's say, pages within a brand. So like how is Facebook doing versus Instagram and so on. I think comparing is more done like you can have the full analytics view for each client and then maybe download that report. But yeah, you can export those reports for clients as well. And again, in literally a couple of days or weeks, you'll be able to export like for all the pages within the client. So you'll be able to do that. It's also up to you. So if the client is in Planable, you decide whether or not they have direct access to that analytics view. So if you don't want them to and you prefer to, send out a report, you can basically shut down their access to analytics, like they just don't have permission to see it, and so it's just not going to be visible to them. But if you feel like it's useful for them to have direct access, you can choose how you want to approach that.
Another question we have from Andrea. I'm not really sure if this is how relevant this is, because I can imagine this being applied to our, for example, lead generator tool in SEO ranking, but I'm just not sure about Planable. If you could address this issue for us and know that'd be great. So how
Yeah,
conversions? revenue, sales, and leads. Yeah, let me just do the voiceover for that one.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not. So again, our focus is currently organic content. So I'm guessing this would be more for like paid content. In the analytics side, you can see like link clicks. So if you have things like that, and for Google Business Profiles, for example, you can see those metrics there. But I think it's not as maybe what's the word I'm looking for, but as developed maybe on the conversions track. And I think maybe on the SEO ranking side, it's a bit there's more dedicated tools for that.
Thank you for addressing that. Another question we have from Carl, just this one just came in. Did you say that there's an approval process via email without having to go to a login?
Uh, yes and no. There is a way to have an approval process without a login. It's not through email, so you can send a link to the client. They don't have to log in. They'll just be able to see the content. They won't be able to actually. So the approval side of things is for people that have a seat and are logging in, but they can leave feedback, for example. So they could just simply say all good, approved, or anything like that. And you can just send a link to the entire calendar. You'll be able to select like the period of time. So let's say you'll be able to select only the content for September. So they will only be able to see those posts, send them, via email or whatever communication channel you use to with them, and they'll be able to see that and leave feedback without having to log in.
Awesome, thank you. Another question is about additional costs for engagement and analytics add-ons. Is that a thing in Planable?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's correct. So currently, when you subscribe to Planable to any of our plans, you get all of the planning, collaboration, and publishing process. And then analytics and engagement is up to you if you want to purchase. And they do come as an add-on. They do come per workspace. So for example, if there's clients you do analytics services for, or community management service for, you can opt to only buy those add-ons for those workspaces. And it's the same price as an add-on across any of the tier plans you would choose. So that's fixed, but yeah, it comes as an add-on, and you get a trial for both analytics or engagement. If you want to test it out, you get a trial so that you can see if you want to commit to it afterwards.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend booking a call and just experiencing everything yourself, because that's the way everything works. Because if you just focus on the money aspect, it's not, because we want the value, right? It's not. It depends on the value that you get. So I would just definitely go to talk to sales to have more a more expanded opportunity to look at Planable and all of its capabilities. That was actually the last question that we have in the chat. So we can do the outro slides here. And yeah, just in case you have any questions, you can always reach out to SE Ranking and we'll connect you. You can also book a what do you call it, a trial via the link that we send you, and also keep talking to Planable from that engagement. And yeah, so just to do the outro, and let me just invite you to try the expanded free trial of SE Ranking, because yeah, we was all about Planable, but once again, we want to remind you that to check out SE Ranking, because it's all going to be bundled up depending on your needs. You may want to explore all the tools that we have to offer. So just make sure to scan that QR code. As you can see, the first point that we have in the list is AI Search Toolkit, which is a very brand new thing that we're developing. We're very proud of it. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing how it can help businesses dominate the search world. And if you're going to be signing up for a free trial, make sure to use your business email. That way you'll get a lot more benefits, and it will be easier for us to communicate with you, knowing what kind of business you are. So just help us help you. So definitely take advantage of this opportunity. And we have a community, again, a QR code, scan it, join us on Facebook if that's still what it's called. I think it's still Facebook. But yeah, just you're welcome to talk about our tools, talk about issues in the search world, exchange ideas. And we have a couple of swag giveaways every year. So be on the lookout for that. Also, another thing is that we have the Do Follow podcast, where we discuss different digital marketing topics. Every month we have an expert. Our most recent episode came out just yesterday with Garrett Sussman of iPull Rank. So be sure to check that out. And We are everywhere, so be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, former Twitter. Yeah, and once again, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We will be sending out the follow-up email very soon, where you'll be able just to see all the useful links and rewatch this event if needed. Thank you, Noah, for being here, for letting us know what Planable is and how it can help professionals in their social media endeavors. So yeah, and I was very blown away by the fantastic look of the interface. Just everything looks so intuitive. If I were not a social person, I would definitely start just doing everything, because it just looks very, well, not simple. I don't want to say that everything is like, but that's the way it looked to me. Like, it looks approachable, at least, accessible. So I'm very excited about that. And again, thank you everybody for joining us for this event. And I'm going to wish you everybody a good day. Thank you for being here. And here's to higher rankings in search and social.
Thank you.